In this video, I'm going to show you how to use fronted adverbials. So fronted adverbials are words or phrases which come at the beginning of a sentence, are always followed by a comma, and they add more description and more detail to our sentences. They are also a Year 5 grammar feature and are probably one of the easiest ones to implement in your work. So we have a sentence here, Fern fed Wilbur his milk. Okay, so it's a pretty basic sentence. We know what she's doing, we know who's doing it, so it's Fern. The verb is she's feeding, and obviously Wilbur is having his milk. But we don't know any other details than that. We don't know where they are, we don't know what time this is, we don't know how it's happening, whether she's doing it happily, slowly, carefully. So there's a lot more information that could be given to up-level this sentence. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose a fronted adverbial from our list here, and we're going to add that to this sentence. We're going to remember to add the comma, and then we will see how it has improved. So I'm going to have a look at the different categories. So fronted adverbials, you can use them to tell the time. So you could say it happened after an event, you could say which day it happened on, which month, how long ago. You could use one to say the frequency. So do they do this daily? Do they do this monthly? Do they do this 2 or 3 times a day? You also then can use a fronted adverbial to dictate the place it happens. So you could put in the barn, comma, Fern fed Wilbur his milk. In the field, Fern fed Wilbur his milk. So the fronted adverbial needs to match the sentence you are writing about. So we wouldn't say that last year Fern fed Wilbur his milk, because we know that Wilbur is a piglet and actually he's probably only at this point a couple of days, weeks or months old. So he's not old enough to have been fed his milk last year. You can also use a fronted adverbial to say the manner in which something happens. Now the manner is how it happens. So kind of looking at emotions, or you could look at whether it's done angrily, quickly, slowly. And then finally, the other category is possibility. So possibility is how likely something is to have happened. So you could say, as usual, Fern fed Wilbur his milk. So in this video, I'm going to use one to dictate the time, and I'm going to use the word yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to look at my list. Now, this will become the start of my sentence. So of course, it needs to start with a capital letter. If you're not sure on some of the spellings, you do have the list in front of you, and that is on Shobi too. So yesterday, there is my fronted adverbial. Now, as mentioned, all fronted adverbials must be followed by a comma. There is my comma. And now I can continue with the rest of my sentence. So I'm just going to change colour so you can see the difference between before and after. Fern is a pronoun. So we know Fern is her name, so that needs a capital letter too. And then we're just going to carry on. So Fern fed Wilbur, again, another pronoun, so that needs a capital letter. His milk. And that is the end of my sentence. At the end of a sentence comes a full stop. Okay, so if we compare the two now. So before we had Fern fed Wilbur his milk. Simple sentence. And now we have yesterday, Fern fed Wilbur his milk. Okay, so now we have a fronted adverbial, we know when it happened, and that is a Year 5 grammar.